Hello everyone. Firstly, thank you all for following me, showing an interest in what I do. So what I'm going to do is put a series of video clips together just to explain the whole pace lab system, really, because it is a bit different. I've spent 5 or 6 years now just experimenting, testing, profiling, coaching different teams, different bowlers, and from that I can see what actually the best do. So what I'm going to do, the first one is just go through the pace lab system in terms of how we identify the needs of a bowler. So it's based on profiling, so it's assessing, not guessing. So stick with it. I'll try and make it as simple as I can, but bearing in mind as well that people who follow me who are really sharp, brighter than I am, both in biomechanics and in S&C side of it. So I'll have a mix of everything. Okay, so the first thing is what do fast bowlers actually do? Okay, so they're Worthington, I think it was in Loughborough University, did a study. There was a few of them, but his name is the only one I remember. So they are the KPIs, really, what the best do based on their research. So the fastest bowlers in the world run in faster. They have a braced front leg. They have a long delivery stride. They have heel contact on front foot contact. They have an upper body delay, so they get into that position like a seesaw position. And they have large trunk flexion on delivery, so they really follow through. So they bend at the waist and put as much force behind the ball as possible. So that's the general side of it. That's what the ECB, the Australian, the BCCI, West Indies, all of them agree on. That's what most fast bowlers do, okay? So for me, that was a bit too simple, because there's a reason for everything. You know, why can't a bowler run in quickly, or why can't they brace their front leg? You know, there's no point trying to consciously cue a bowler to brace their front leg if actually they're not strong enough to do it, in simple terms, okay? So the pace lab profiling system looks at things in finer details. There's 10 different tests that we do. I won't go through them, but rest assured there's no stone unturned. Okay, so this is what we found. So the impulse stride is the takeoff stride. It's the one that gets you going from forward to slightly upward. Remember, it's not a high jump. It's not an Olympic high jump event. It's more of a long jump. In fact, it's more of a triple jump. So you got to keep everything going forward. Okay, fast bowling is not about deceleration. It's not about slowing down. It's about maintaining momentum. That's why you need to learn how to sprint. Okay, it's about clawing, swing leg retraction, clawing each stride, clawing the floor behind you all the way through. That's why Jofra Archer bowls so quickly. Okay, because he claws the floor. It's effortless grace. So the impulse stride needs to be underneath the center of mass. Okay, so belly button, it needs to be under that. Okay, if it's in front of you, so your foot lands in front of you, it means you're trying to jump too high. Okay, so while you're jumping too high, at no stage can you put force into the floor. So you can't do anything. You just fly in, and your back leg is dangling there like an anchor. Okay, so it needs to land underneath you. There's drills that I put out on social media that shows you that, where you put a box down, small little box, and you jump on it. So it's a plant from above. You bang it, so the drill itself becomes your subconscious coach. You've just got to do the drill. You know, you can only think about one thing consciously, and that's bowling the ball. Don't give too many cues, okay? Don't make too many messages. The bowler, you'll confuse the bowler. So put something down, and he's got to put his foot down there and let him take him forward. Stiff back foot contact. Okay, so pogo, imagine a pogo stick. If you want to go higher, you hit the floor. If you want to put more energy in, you have to hit the floor hard. That's why stiffness is so important. Okay, and I'll cover that in the S&C section of it. So you need to put more energy in. So more energy into back foot, okay, the more energy goes forward. So try and increase the size of the delivery strike here, long delivery, that it won't happen, okay? It will happen if you put more energy in rear side, in the back foot. So hit the back foot hard, but the heel can't touch. If the heel touches on back foot contact, it means you slow down. So that's the first thing I look at when I look at the bowler, is the heel touching. Because if the heel touching, that means I've slowed down, I've lost momentum, and it now becomes a battle about strength and effort at the crease. And that's not good. You know, bowling is only about 80%, it's only about 20% muscle, okay? 80% of it is more tendon, so remember that. Bowling happens too quickly for it to be totally about muscle. Okay, please remember that, that's really important. Brace front foot contact. The bowlers that we've assessed do brace the front leg. But remember, okay, brace, there's a difference between a blocked front leg and a locked. So a blocked front leg can be slightly flexed. Like baseball have a flex and extend. It can be slightly flexed, okay? But what you can't, so it can be slightly bent on contact. What you can't do is sink again. So that lacks stiffness. So then you lose energy. The more joints that work, okay, the more energy that lost, less energy into the ball, okay? And also you lose the height of the center of mass. The higher you can keep the center of mass, okay, into front foot contact, the quicker you'll bowl. That's really important. That's called gravitational momentum, okay? More energy, bang, going into that front foot. Second one is contralateral extension. So that position there, so that position down here, if you can see it, it's the seesaw, okay? So draw a line parallel to the floor, your arms are somewhere near it, okay? So not one up there, one down there, not the leading arm there, left bowling arm up there. So you've lost your left side. Okay, here's a tip for you. If when you bowl, and I'm going into the tactical side of it here, but I'll do it. If you bowl, okay, and you lose direction, you can't control. You don't know where it's going. Okay, more often than not, it's your base. Okay, you've crossed over. So remember, when you land, bang, the front foot has to land underneath your hip as well. So whether you can spin, pivot on the back foot and land in that position, or front on, you just land in that position. Okay, but it needs to be under the hips. That means that the pelvis is open and everything can then go forward. You flex at the waist, there's no lateral flexion. Okay, so if you struggle with direction, it's your left side has gone, because crossed over the base, that goes that way to super compensate. For every action is equal opposite reaction, and then the ball will never ever be going down straight, because you're just having to super compensate with the wrist position, the arm position, because it's on a different path, okay? But if you're struggling with your length, it normally means that your left side has gone too early. Okay, so it's not gone that way, it's gone too early. So then that means that your center of mass is now lower. So you've got no idea what a good length is, okay, because that's gone too early. So that's a good tip for you, okay? How you intervene with that and how you change those is the coaches need to come up with some drills, okay? Most of my drills have come from having an S&C knowledge and how you acquire skill, motor learning, okay? The front leg claw back. So your front leg doesn't slide in. Okay, so that's why, okay, you don't see heel contact here. You might see it over there, but actually I think it's flat. It's front foot flat contact. Okay, total area of it. It's not heel contact. You don't want to slow down, okay? So if the fastest bowlers I've seen are the ones that come down flat with it and pull themselves forward. So swing leg retraction, pull yourself forward. It's not a stopping motion. Despite what people say, it's not a deceleration on front foot. It's a coming down with it and pulling yourself over like a catapult. Okay, so if you have a look, all of them, the ones who bowl like 70s are the ones who land like that, heel first, because that's what you're told to do, heel contact. Well, actually, you're never going to be, because by the time then that front foot comes down and pulls you over, it's too late. So you need to pull yourself over. That's what the fastest do. Okay, so swing leg retraction, and then both feet to identify, they separate the hips and shoulders. So to identify, you separate your hips and shoulders. Both feet need to be facing forward on front foot contact. That is a consequence of separating your hips and shoulders. Okay, that's important to remember. So those are what I call the intermuscle, so the sequence, and the kinematic attractors. So the joints, the communication, the synchronization between joint segments. Okay, but to get them, you need the kinetic attractors. So these are the intramuscular, how the muscles work. Okay, and therefore, I believe, the short ground contact. So you need short ground contact time on back foot contact. Okay, the fastest bowlers have a ground contact time on back foot by 0.10. It takes 0.25, 0.5 for the muscles to work, stress shortening cycle. Okay, so it's not back foot contact is definitely not about muscle. Back foot contact is about tendon. It's actually more muscle on front foot contact because it's a longer ground contact time, and it's about mass specific force. So how much force you can put into the floor at your body weight. Okay, so actually so you can train each side differently, but I'll talk about that later. Okay, so like I said, large mass specific force on front foot contact. So that's when your deadlifts, your trap bar deadlifts and your squats are important. But then it's important for your front foot, but it's not that important for your back foot. So if you follow the Bondarchuk-Tier system, you can then train them differently. Arm speed is important. When you're young, your arm speed is high. As you get older, because the joints, your bones get bigger, longer, it's more about levers, arm speed decreases. But you don't want to decrease it too much. Okay, arm speed does correlate with ball velocity. It is really important. You need it up to about 800 RPMs. Okay, it's really important you remember that. But the question is then what you need to do. Do you need more light ball bowling or do you need more heavy ball bowling? You know, but that's why you have to test. Everything you do have to test. Okay, even if it's looking, you know, you can look at a bowler, and then if their arm comes over slowly and they're still bowling 85 140s, then you go, oh, actually the way I can improve him is to improve his arm speed. So get some more light ball work in, get some oscillatory work, and if you see a bowler who's got a rapid arm, okay, and bowls 80s, then you go, actually it's got a lot of rate, it's moving quickly, but it's not got a lot of force, a lot of power, a lot of magnitude behind it. So what he needs or she needs is heavy ball bowling. Okay, so it's on a continuum. So you got strength and speed. The strength and speed, you want to be sitting in the middle, so then it's about technique. Okay, so then you need to identify then why haven't you got a kinematic technique or physical? Why haven't you got them? What's your limiting factor? Okay, but remember, it's really important, and I don't want to offend anyone here. DNA genes is really important. Okay, about 48% of your strength and speed phenotypes are predetermined. Okay, it's your parents, it's in the genes. But my job as a fast bowling coach is to try and get the other 53% out of you. You're born with a pace flow. Okay, some people like my pace flow was there. Varun Aaron's pace flow is there. So I will never jump up that way. He will always be ahead of me when all else being equal, and he trains the same. Okay, but if I train better, I might be able to overtake him. Not anymore, obviously. But so people are born with a pace flow, but training qualities can push the pace ceiling up. So people ask me about, I'm now bowling at 18, I'm bowling 115 kilometers per hour. Can I bowl 140, 145? No, okay? I don't want to offend anyone, but you can't. That's a really drastic jump. However, if you have the fibers, if you're born to bowl quickly, you have the DNA, the right anthropometry, how you're built, and a pretty robust, pretty strong, and have the foundation, but have not trained correctly, then you could very well put on 10, 15 miles per hour. I did it in 2 years, you know, but I had a base. But some people haven't got that base, so it doesn't matter how hard you train, you'll never get there. But that doesn't mean you won't be a professional cricketer. You won't play Ranji Trophy, okay? Because there's different roles. Like I'm talking about 100 miles per hour, 90 miles per hour bowler, and the appetite to get there is awesome. But there's different roles in the game. You know, you can bowl 120 and bat, be a gun fielder. Okay, so don't give up, but don't keep searching for something that's never going to happen. Okay, people are born to bowl quickly. So differences exist. Okay, so what's your limiting factor? Is it technical? Is it physical? Is it tactical? Or is it psychological? What is stopping you bowling as fast as you can bowl? Okay, what are those reasons? And then you have to identify it. You have to make a plan. Okay, so I always start with technique. Okay, technique underpins everything. Okay, there's no point looking like a massive bodybuilder and having all these Olympic lifts and, you know, deadlifting 3 times the body weight, Olympic lift 100 kilograms, if your technique is shot to bits. Okay, if you're not hitting these, there's no point. Like if you've got a 200 kilogram deadlift, okay, but your impulse stride is in front of you, your takeoff stride is in front of you because you want to jump high, you'll never bowl quickly. Okay, you'll never bowl quickly. The research shows that. The jumping high will mean there's more force coming down on back foot contact. You're going to have a heavy back foot contact. You're going to be too long on back foot contact. Remember, you can't split your body down the middle and one side moves at different speeds. If I'm spending too long on back foot contact, okay, the front leg is going to go in that same direction. The hips are closed. So it's going to go down to fine leg, but I'm bowling that way. Okay, all because, and then when that happens, it's a stumble reflex. So the leg will come down quickly, protective, continuous reflex, and the leg will collapse because the trunk, the heavy part in your head will be over that knee and it can't cope with that. So I'm now closed and I want to bowl that way. So I have to have an open around the gate motion with the leg. Okay, so there's nothing going towards target. All because heavy back foot contact, whether you need to pivot because your knee dominant side on, or whether you're going forward to front on or midway. And that stems from impulse stride, wanting to jump as high as you can, whether that's consciously or subconsciously, because you've done lots of weight training, you know, most knee dominant bowlers, and I'll cover that later, love the heavy stuff. Their single leg squat jump is probably higher because a single leg squat jump is more about strength. Okay, and it's got no relevance to fast bowling at all. There's no point having that, okay, if your technique is rubbish. Rubbish is not the right word, but it's not right. It's not efficient. Okay, you'll never outrun a poor technique. It'll catch up with you somewhere. Okay, if you have a hinge on a door, that's always the same. You can change the door as much as you want to. You can put muscle on it. You can look fandango, but the joint will always be the same and it will break at the same place. Okay. The question is then, with the technique, how many of those attractors do you hit? How many of these do you hit? Okay, for me, I'm like an engineering sort of approach to coaching. If it's 4 or more of them, its technique is not your limiting factor. It's fine, okay? It's more psychological, physical, or tactical, okay? If it's less than 4, if you're having 1, 2, 3 of these, okay, it's definitely technique. Okay, you can be as strong as you want to, but if you're not hitting in one of these 6, you're not hitting 4 more of these 6, you're not going to bowl quickly. And technique is your limiting factor. But then it's about intervention. How can we change that technique? So is it hardware? So is it your body? Is it your muscles? Or is it software issue? Is it the brain? Is it motor learning? Is it skill acquisition? So there's a different intervention method that's needed. The best one that I came up with is the skill stability paradigm, okay? It covers everything. So what I'll do in the next one, okay, next part of the series, is I'll go through motor learning, okay? How we can change technique if it's a technical flaw, okay? And after that, then I'll talk about, and within that, there'll be hip or knee dominant, okay? I'll explain the differences that exist, and then I'll go through the S&C side of it, and then hopefully you can see then how it's all entwined and it's all interlinked. There's no one size fits all to fast bowling. There's no cookie cutter program. Everyone is different. Okay, whether you're a slower twitch animal, you got to be fast twitch if you're bowling. If you're slow twitch, you're going to bowl spin. But if you're more fast twitch dominant, if you're a hip dominant bowler, a knee dominant bowler, front on, side on, differences exist. Long run up, short run up. Okay, so hopefully this series will help you understand that it's an individual approach and there's no guesswork involved in the pace lab system. Thanks for listening. See you soon.